I could send you to jail, and I would not lose one bit of sleep over it. But I don't know what good that would do. There is currently a vacancy at Camp Green Lake. They help troubled youth build character. The choice is yours. Camp Green Lake or jail.
Well, I never been to camp before.
18 months, Camp Green Lake, son.
Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, TJ Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host. We got the owner of Camp Green Lake in the house tonight. We got Mr. James O'Reilly.
My name is Mr. Sir.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I know I always get those two mixed up. Jeez, don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, I don't own the camp, okay? I just shoot guns at children at the camp. It's a big difference.
That is true. It's a very important gig you have there. I can't lie. And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters, and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Jim, what are we watching tonight?
We're watching Holes.
That is right. We're watching Holes, described according to Wikipedia as a 2003 neo-Western comedy drama film. So
They're not wrong, right?
they hit the nail on the head with that one, or should I say shovel to the back of Mr. Sir's head on that one. We got Holes, directed by Andrew Davis, written by Louis Sacker, based on his book, and starring Shia LaBeouf, Sigourney Weaver, and Jon Voight. Now, as always, we love to bust out our physical media here, and we're busting out the Holes DVD cover, baby, the classic Disney production that is Holes. And we got some blurbs here for you, Jim, here tonight. We got Gene Shalit from Today calling this one of America's most cherished books arrives in a winning movie.
Ooh, okay.
Oh yeah,
Strong words from Mr. Shalit.
Strong words indeed. And I'm probably going to butcher this last name, but we got Claudia Puig from USA Today.
How did you say that?
Puig, Puig. Puig?
Right, sure, that sounds right.
Right? I'm gonna need some phonetics on that one. They called it an action adventure family film with heart as well as humor. So all these people just hitting the absolute nail on the head, but we know what we're all here for. We are here for that lovely log line, and it reads: dogged by bad luck stemming from an ancient family curse, young Stanley Yelnats is sent to Camp Green Lake, a very weird place that's not green and doesn't have a lake. Once there, he's thrown headlong into the adventure of his life when he and his colorful campmates, Squid, Armpit, Zigzag, Magnet, X-Ray, and Zero, must dig a hole a day to keep the warden at bay. But why? Through it all, Stanley and company must forge fast friendships as they try to unearth the mystery of what's really going on in the middle of nowhere. Filled with humor and heartwarming messages of friendship and teamwork, Holes is a treasure everyone will dig.
Oh, nice.
Couldn't resist themselves. Had to slam that one in
I did not see
there.
it coming. They got me in the on the last at the buzzer. They got me with that
Yeah,
one.
right at the buzzer with the sweet pun right there. That is a mouthful of a log line. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of stopped listening like halfway through. There was a lot of talking during the routine.
There was way too much explanation going on in that log line. Especially like, did you really need to name all of the companions by name? Especially when outside of Zero, none of them do dick.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That is a lot of names to squeeze in there, but that was, I think, a pretty good thing for them to highlight because that is like a big part of the setting of this movie.
It's true. And it's crazy that that's so much of a mouthful and they didn't even touch on the flashbacks in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, how could you? I suppose
They're leaving out a whole
Back
treasure
DVD.
trove of another plot line going down in this movie. They're like, you know what? Unnecessary. We don't need it.
But yeah, I feel like that was a thing that was big in the book too. Was like you really got like a feeling of like being kind of in the trenches with these guys, like the literal trenches while they were digging, and there was kind of like a camaraderie to it.
Or definitely was there. What's interesting is I have the book right here too, Jim. I have the Holes
Oh,
book. This is my young TJ copy here. This has come with me through all the years reading it when it first came out. And interesting enough, on the back, he keeps it centered to Stanley. He never mentions, like, he says the boys, but he never brings up how many, who the other boys are, doesn't
oh,
even mention Zero. So very interesting that he keeps it much more focused on Stanley in the book,
yeah,
at least.
that
Did
is
did
very.
you read the book?
Yeah, I read this in elementary school. It was like a pretty. I think I read it like for school in elementary school.
Really
I
interesting.
think
I
so.
can't remember if they made us. I don't think they made us read it in school. I think it was just. I think I just read it on my own. I just found it some way. I don't think we had to read it for school.
It was a really popular book either way.
Yeah, I remember it was like everywhere.
Like it makes sense that you would have read it not for school.
It, I still remember my brother making fun of me for reading it while we were waiting online for a rock and roller coaster at Disney's MGM Studios. Just pulled a book out to read online. He was like, "You fucking
I mean,
loser, you're
to be
reading."
fair, who the fuck is reading on the line for Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster? What are you nuts?
Listen, when you're in the Florida heat, standing down 65-minute wait time, like you got to do anything
Yeah.
to keep your
I'll
mind
tell
off
you
the task
exactly
at
what I'm
hand.
doing. I'm watching video vignettes of Steven Tyler and Aerosmith. That's what I'm doing online for that ride.
Fair, fair. I don't know what I'm thinking. Did you see this in theaters?
I must have. I couldn't. I have zero memory of seeing it in theaters, but I feel like there's no way that I didn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm tracking what you're saying there.
There's like I couldn't tell you a single thing about seeing it in theaters, but it's just I definitely would have seen this. I was a big fan of the book. My siblings were both big fans of the books.
Just as one of those movies that just like you've seen so much and you've lived so many days that you're bound to not remember every single one of them. Like sooner or later, there's going to be a movie that you went and saw, but you have zero recollection of going to see it.
Yeah, exactly. I would stand by that I saw it though.
I got you. Yeah, no, I remember seeing it. This was absolute. I was the same boat as you. Like, loved this book. Read this book multiple times as a kid. This was another book that kind of went hand in hand with Harry Potter, where it was very much like a formative young teen book that I read that helped bridge me from going from like infant books where you're reading like Dr. Seuss before you're getting up to the big stuff, which is like your Stephen Kings and all that. Like this was a good bridge book that like let you know like you might be ready for some bigger and heavier material.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
naturally I was running to go see this movie as soon as it came out.
yeah, this is a classic like coming of age story for kids in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and especially for our age, like as soon as they were like we were making holes, main character Shia LaBeouf. I was like, yeah, bro, I'm there. Like I've been a day one Shia fan, bro. Like even Stevens, absolutely. Like you're putting them in holes, one of my favorite books. I'm there, day one. Let's go.
Shia LaBeouf might maybe nominated for some awards in this movie, by the way. We
Oh,
might
I
find
can.
that out a
I
little
am
later
very
on.
interested to see what kind of just what kind of accolades this movie's racking up later. But yeah, I remember dragging Big Rob to go see this movie, and I think Zach came with us too, but I don't think he cared as much either because he didn't care about reading or anything like that. So this was definitely a me dragging everybody too. But I didn't care. I was gung ho for it, and I was a huge fan of both the book and the movie as a kid. But I haven't. It's funny watching this now when we were going to watch it for this. I haven't watched this movie and I couldn't tell you how long. It's been a long time, but I remember watching this movie a lot when it first came out.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a forgotten thing for me. I haven't even thought about polls in a long time before you brought it up for this.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that, like, at once upon a time, along with the book, was such a seminal part of you growing up, and then out of nowhere, like 10 years have passed, and you haven't even thought about it. You're like, oh yeah, remember that? Like that was a big deal.
Yeah, and I just like I this is like kind of a good argument for adaptations, I think, because this is the kind of thing where never in a million years am I gonna go back and reread Holes. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just not gonna happen ever.
You've passed
Um
the age where it's a kind of book that you return to.
yeah, and I mean like the reading level is probably like awful like to go through as an adult, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, and it's not
But
like
I
it's a
could
book.
rewatch the movie, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? The
you
movie
could
is like pretty handy in that regard. So
it's like it's perfect right there. Because I think I'm in the same boat also with like the Harry Potter ones. Like I don't think I'll ever reread the Harry Potter books again in my life. But like I got the movies right there. Like I don't ever have to.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
it's perfect for those books that were like big when you were a kid, but now you've grown out of them, but you've got the movie to return to if you're ever feeling that nostalgic itch to, re-dive into that classic story from when you were younger.
Yeah, and on the other
Unfortunately,
hand, with Harry Potter, you could just rewatch the first three movies and call it a day. You know, you
yeah,
don't really need to.
you can, or you can patiently wait for the upcoming TV serial.
Oh yeah, I saw they put out an open casting call. You gonna go for Ron? You gonna do it?
Yeah, dude, I think I could play a really good Ron Weasley.
You just have to dye your hair red. I think you do that, and we'll
Think
see
I could
where you're
be?
at.
Yeah, you think I could pull off a ginger?
I don't know. I think so. I think the thing that's gonna really hold you up is the accent.
That's true. Very Long Island. I don't know if I can escape the Long Island accent. There, I'm gonna come in and be like, "Yo, Harry, Harry, we gotta open the Chamber of Secrets, bro. What are you doing? Come on."
Draco's like, she's a muggle boy, and Ron, oh,
Oh, come on. What are we saying that for? Out of
if
line.
you say, oh, that's a bad word.
What you're saying here right now, Jim, is what I'm thinking is we need a Brooklyn version of Harry Potter, is what you're saying. Like that's what I want. Like
Yeah, I
Harry,
mean, like,
Harry grew up in Bed-Stuy, like
yeah, and it's just like like they go the mafia angle.
fucking Harry Potter. I think we can firmly say that us and plenty of other kids that grew up on this book helped propel this movie to a very interesting box office. So why don't we cue it up? Let's dive into some box office numbers.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, numbers, dates, hooray. Dates, numbers. Show me the money.
So Holes opens the weekend of April 18th through the 20th of 2003.
Dude, inching so
Um,
close back to the summer, baby.
and this is like kind of the mythical beast that we've talked about a few times when you're looking back at 2003. The
Mm-hmm.
like mid-budget movie where you make Holes on a $20 million budget.
Like, that's beautiful right there. Like,
Yeah. You got
beautiful.
some like juice behind the IP. It's like it's got some built-in fan base
That's
already.
that's
You've got
pocket
a big
change right
Disney
there.
star and Shia LaBeouf, you know what I mean? And you're doing all that for 20 million bucks.
Gold.
And so it opens, like we said, weekend of April 18th through the 20th in second place.
Ooh. Wants to get beat by yeah, big oof, big oof. Do I take a guess? What is it? Is it a comedy?
Yeah, take a shot at it.
Is it a comedy?
It is a comedy.
Is it anger management?
It is anger management. I feel
Nice.
like the fix was in on that one. I don't know. I got
Well,
a
I
funny feeling about that guess.
I was reading reviews, and I have a funny review from Roger Ebert that I'm going to bring up later, and he takes a pot shot at anger management. So that made me
Oh,
put
okay.
two and two
So
together.
movies
That
and
that meant like they
theaters.
probably
Yeah.
came out the same weekend.
Nice. That's good. You did some research. I like
I
it.
did, I did. Look, I'm not, not just a pretty face.
Yeah. So anger management does open number one with 25 million. It's in its second week. Holes comes in second place with 16.3 million.
Ooh, 16.3, bringing us in the low end here, Jim. That's coming in the 34th spot behind a Night Tales, 16.5, and ahead of Enough's 14. So it's settling into the bottom 10. So
Yeah, but
it's
again,
not
$20
doom and
million
gloom.
budget. So
Yeah,
you're not expecting to like necessarily to make like a gazillion dollars this weekend, but
like you're not opening to
you're in good
75 here.
territory.
You just need good word of mouth and a few weeks at the box office, and you're gonna be okay here.
It shares an opening weekend with the third place movie Malibu's Most Wanted, which
Oh
I'm
dear
guessing
God.
you did not see in theaters.
No, no. Unfortunately, I've only been subjected to that and home video release.
And then in fourth place, also opening that weekend, Bulletproof Monk with 8.6 million.
Dude, like the next time people want to complain in today's day and age that, like there's no movies coming out, like think about that. You could have had an April where those were the four movies you could go see.
This is interesting though, because I said I definitely saw Holes in theaters, but I know for a fact that I saw Malibu's Most Wanted the weekend that it came out.
Oh,
So
man.
I'm not so sure that I did see Holes now. This is like an interesting twist.
He's questioning
And
his
then
whole existence right now.
last interesting opening weekend here, A Mighty Wind down in 11th place with 2.1 million. The follow up to Best in Show, like some of the best mockumentary movies ever.
Dude, like what a weekend at the box office.
Yeah. Um, Going into weekend two, Holes drops down to third place with 12.5 million, only a 23% drop.
That's really
Uh,
good.
the movie Identity opens in first.
Oh,
Um,
all right.
and
That's an underrated classic right there.
Confidence, isn't that like an Ed Burns movie where it's like a heisty kind of thing?
Me, I don't know. I've honestly never heard of that movie.
We'll have to look that up later and see if I got that right. So, it's in the black though.
It's
It's
all right.
not
It's yeah.
having a pretty decent drop. Stays pretty popular. Going into weekend three, Holes drops down to fifth place with 6.9 million. I am gonna take a stab here, and I am not gonna say much more about this week, but I am gonna guess a movie to see if it's our next movie.
Is this the first weekend of May?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So this movie, without giving too much away, does pretty well in this weekend. And if there's one thing I've learned about your movie going habits in the early 2000s, it's that you are a basic bitch.
You goddamn, I'm
So
still a
I am
basic
gonna
bitch.
guess that you saw this movie in theaters. X2, X-Men United.
Ooh, Jim, you would be correct. That will be our next movie is X2.
All right, fished it out early tonight.
Oh yeah, big win, surprises out of the bag. It's got it in the tank.
Yeah, so then we're not going to talk too much about that week or any of the other weeks because I think we want to like save some of it for that. We're gonna ride Holes out of the top 10. Weekend four, it comes in sixth place with 4.8 million.
Okay.
Weekend five, it comes in eighth place with
Oh,
3.1.
can I get
Weekend
one
six,
more?
eighth place with 2.4.
Oh.
And then finally in weekend seven, it drops down to 12th place with just a shade under $1 million, 931,000.
Still
You will
those.
die a slow and painful death.
No, you did not. You stuck around for 6 glorious weeks, Holes. And that's good. You're joining some other top league 6 weekers right here, like Shallow Hal, Spy Kids 2, and the absolute classic, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, another mid-budget movie, by the way. That
Yeah,
was like, because some totals here with Holes. These remind me a lot of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days off the top of my head. But domestic it finishes with 67.4 million. International just 4 million. Not a lot to write home about there.
right. It
For a
is a very
worldwide total
Americana.
for a worldwide total of 71.4 million.
Jim, I don't know if your comparison to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days quite works, as the final gross of that movie was 177.5. But
Oh yeah. Well, actually, you're right. That's much better.
yeah, I'll give it to you though. So Holes is going to come in a bit more on the lower end here. It's going to settle in the 37th spot behind Old School's 87.1 and ahead of Enough's 51.8. So while it ends up on the lower end of our list, that is still a pretty successful movie there as far as Holes goes. With a budget of 20 million, that is some pretty good chump change. Now, Jim, I know you get giddy every time we can find it. We got another week where I found not the full total of DVD sales, but I found at
Ooh.
least the 2003 video sales. So as of December 03, by the end of the year for Holes, they sold 3.11 million copies, earning another $56.2 million.
Right. Yeah.
So
So
like
we talk
the
about
win.
this a lot. So
Yeah.
it's cool that we can get the numbers behind it. But yeah, like they maybe wanted this to do better in theaters. They end up probably getting like a single, but then the DVD sales basically double like their gross on this movie.
Like that's a resounding success right there. And it's crazy that they've all kind of become so gung ho into streaming and not found a way to like develop whatever the next thing is to try and get like because these that's got to be so insane to lose those sales out of
Yeah,
movies today.
of course it is. We've talked about this a bunch, dude. This is why they don't make these kinds of mid-budget movies anymore, is because
Yeah,
there's no secondary market to fall back on.
it's
Like
insane.
nothing that's making them any kind of real money anyway. So if you flop in theaters, because that's the other thing, nobody makes it. This movie doesn't cost $20 million in 2024. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like that's a huge revenue stream that they've lost, and it's why you don't see a lot of these mid-budget movies anymore. It's why you don't see them not making as many movies anymore because there's no like safety net to fall back on.
It's crazy that just the floor just drops from underneath them as far as these sales go. And now they're just floundering, trying to figure out a way to make streaming work and make revenue for them off of these movies. It's insane. That's so crazy. Because this is nuts. The 56.2 million, and that's just December '03. That's not even like a full calendar year of the DVD being on sale. So it's probably way more than 56.2.
Yeah, I mean maybe by now it is, yeah, but either way though, it's a huge success the year this movie comes out. And there's no equivalent where you can make like put that revenue as from a specific movie anymore, you know? Like I mean, I know they're like licensing stuff, but how much is Holes really worth to a streaming company that's trying to collect monthly subscriptions so that I'll watch a whole bunch of different shit? You know what I mean? Like whether they have holes or not isn't necessarily make or break for if they get my money.
But especially like with the way everybody goes today, everyone's trying to get their own market. So it's not even like Holes gets licensed out because Disney just puts it on Disney Plus. They're not licensing it out to anybody. It's on their thing to get you to come to them.
Yeah, that's true. It's all, but they've been licensing more stuff. Like Max has been licensing a lot of stuff. Like they don't always necessarily put it on their own streaming platform
Just on
anymore.
theirs. Yeah, I mean, I get you kind of have to because you can't just rely on putting it on your own and then hoping like that's going to drive in people and then keep retention. Like you probably have to rely on licensing out to other ones to just get revenue from other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's such a that's it's so crazy. Oh man. But Holes did pretty well critically as well as theatrically here for it in the box office, Jim. So we're sitting with a 78% rotten. That's not rotten. The rotten thermometer. It's a fresh thermometer from the critic
Okay.
score, 78. And then actually the critics
Audience
was
score?
higher than the audience. The audience 76, but right on the money there between each other. You don't
Yeah,
see that
pretty
very
nice.
often. So
Both
that's
pretty
pretty.
nice scores though. You know the question I'm dying to ask, don't you?
What is your question now?
What is the cinema score for
Oh,
Holes?
Jim, the cinema score is we're back to the median average, baby. The cinema score for Holes is an A.
Hey, woo, okay, so they
Yeah,
beat out the A minus. I feel like A
they did.
minus is one we've seen a lot.
Yeah. And then it sits with an average 7.0 on IMDb. And the classic Roger Ebert, I needed to talk, just get a little blurb out from Roger Ebert's review of this movie because it is hilarious. Roger Ebert actually a big fan of this movie, probably helped propel that 78%. He gave this movie a 3.5 out of 4.
Okay.
And just a little tidbit out of this one. He writes, I walked in expecting a movie for 13 somethings and walked out feeling challenged and satisfied, curious how much more grown up and sophisticated Holes is than anger management.
I love when Roger Ebert has just an axe to grind with a
Uh,
movie that he had to
Dude,
go.
like, I don't think I realized it back then when we would read his reviews, like how many just hot shots he would take at certain movies.
Yeah, because he's like, you made me watch that movie, man. Like, as part of my job, you made me sit down and watch Anger Management, and now I'm upset with you.
Like now I'm pissed. He's like, and I'm gonna
It's
take you to
amazing.
task.
He's just got such an axe to grind. He like really went out of his way to get that in
Yeah.
there.
Well, there was like zero need, but he was like, you know what? Taking the shot, baby. He had it in his sights and he took the shot.
Yeah, just
Now,
a long walk to such low hanging fruit.
he had to stoop down to Adam Sandler's level to show him how much he hated him.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, so that was one of the glorious reviews that I had to bring up just because it was another expert Ebert pot shot and also highlights just how well this movie did critically with people and audiences alike. So now I want to turn it over to you, Jim, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear what some of the likes and dislikes were for you as we dive into this glorious movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of with Raj, man. It's got some heart. It's I love the flashback scenes. They're very they have like no fat on them, I guess is what I would say. Like there's how much would you say that's on screen for? Probably like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
I think it's like 4 or 5 scenes spread out throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of them
So
are quick too. It's not even like huge like chunks of the movie.
yeah, I would say like 15 minutes tops, like is just kind of like my gut feeling. And they cover so much ground in them. Like there's huge time jumps in between and like the story's super easy to follow and it just blends in so well with what's going on in the present day with Stanley and Zero. I love that the onions pay off at the end where they're eating the onions so the lizards stay off of them and then also that's how the shoes stop smelling is the onions.
Yeah, that's probably the
Um,
funniest payoff is that the onions fix the shoes.
yeah.
He's
And
like,
so
we made it to the big times now.
yeah, I love the relationship between Stanley and Zero. Like it grows so well throughout the movie. And Zero is a total psychopath, by the way.
But yeah,
If
dude,
you
that
see
guy, I hope they got that kid lots of therapy.
there was there was one scene when Stanley's getting into a fight with some guys in like the rec room and Zero like creeps up to the pool table and grabs a pool ball and like
Fully ready to beat the shit out of that kid
yeah.
with it.
It's
Like,
like, dude, is he gonna dome somebody with that pool ball? Like he's nuts.
yeah. And like that's a kill shot right there. Like you hit somebody in the head with that
Yeah,
hard enough, like that guy's dead.
that's a deadly weapon. Yeah, like
Yeah.
and it's like a schoolyard fight basically with like 12-year-olds, and he's ready to kill. Like,
And then later he takes the shovel right to Podansky's like cranium.
yeah, that's more cartoony though. I mean, like that's like a big hit too,
I
but
mean, it is
the
they
way
do
it
play it
plays
up
off
for
on screen.
laughs. They play it up for laughs, but like if you hit someone in the face with a shovel, like they'll also probably be dead.
Oh yeah, for real. No, and he chokes that one dude out. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, like this
Zero's
kid,
amazing.
yeah.
But the
Like great.
relationship that the two of them have is awesome too. And I love how that pays off back into the curse on Stanley's family. Like it's like their two families meet up again.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like destiny like rearing its head again.
Yeah.
So it is really good.
Um
And this movie does what a few other movies that we've watched so far have failed to do. And a movie that comes to mind specifically is Kangaroo Jack for me.
okay.
Because you watch at the end of this movie, this is another like the end of this movie is they get rich. The curse is broken. The
Yeah.
onions clear the shoes. He's now got this huge new spray that he can put in shoes for athletes and everything. They strike it big. They're huge. And by the end of the movie, they have this huge thing about they've gotten everything that they wanted out of life, and it's because they've earned it. And you juxtapose that against Kangaroo Jack that we watched, where it was another movie where by the end they've made it big and they've got this huge monopoly off of creating a fragrance. And that did absolutely nothing to earn itself at the end. So when I was watching this movie and they did it, I was like, I would love to send this movie to the writers of Kangaroo Jack and be like, see, this is how you do it. That's how you set it up in the beginning. That's how you slowly pay it off throughout the movie. And then look, now he's earned that. Like now we're with him for being rich at the end. He deserves to be rich at the end. This kid bled for this shit.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works, right? When how the end of the movie has everything to do with what happened earlier in the movie, you wrote a better movie, right? Like
Amazing
it
when the
seems so
writers
simple when you
yeah.
say it, but then like sometimes people just don't do it at all.
when the writers understand the structure. But it's interesting too that they tapped the writer of the book to also write the screenplay, because there's a lot of times where that doesn't always translate well. You can pull out plenty of authors who have then adapted their own work, and the movies have fumbled the ball. So it was very interesting to see Louis Saker take his work here and adapt it like so well, and break out whatever like fat was in the book to just keep this lean and straight to the point and work as well as it does.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, I love that it, like I said this a little bit earlier, it doesn't ever lose like the soul of the book. Like it doesn't lose like the parts that make it charming at all, you know? It
Yeah, definitely.
excels at like getting that stuff in there. And like I was kind of dreading watching this one. And about like 35 minutes in, I was like, "Oh no, I'm totally on this ride, dude. Like I'm so in at this point." Like, and that's such a testament to, like, again, I think it's just because like the heart that the book has is still there, so like I'm invested by the time I get 35 minutes in. And I love like the camp, I love all the kids, I love how evil like the counselors all are. Even when they're not that evil, they're still pretty evil, you know? Like they get worse as the movie goes on, but they don't start from a good place either, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And I like that they had the foresight to make the counselors huge stars. Like the fact that
Oh
it's
yeah,
Sigourney Weaver, John Voight, and Tim Blake Nelson
yeah,
sells
they
it
carry the
so
movie in
much.
points, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
mean, John Voight. I wanted to highlight him specifically. He absolutely rules in this movie. He's
he
so funny.
he chews so much scenery in this, but like he chews everything. Like they were like, ham it up as much as you want. And he was like, I got you.
Yeah, he just like his character is so like
Surly.
it's all like so ridiculous, like physical comedy. Like it's like kind of like Charlie Chaplin, like Three Stooges esque kind of comedy, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's that one scene when it's late at night and he like shoots his gun off after he's done going to the bathroom, and then he does this like weird waddle like across the screen. And it's, I don't know what the hell it is. I've never seen anybody do it in real life, but when he does it, I'm just fascinated by it, and it's so funny. He's crushing in this movie.
Every choice he makes is absolutely hilarious. All three
And
of them. They play it up so well, and they each know their strengths to be in this movie. It's they are far and away really help sell this movie.
yeah, hold on. Before I get to Sigourney Weaver and Tim Blake Nelson, though, I gotta play the greatest audio clip in the history of audio clips.
All right,
This
let's
is
hear it.
John Voight as Mr. Sir in Holes.
Anybody see anything wrong with my face? Huh? I think I'm kind of purty, don't you?
That is unbeatable, dude.
Huh?
It's unbeatable. I don't even know how you come up with delivering that line that way, or like, he's just amazing, man. He's amazing in this movie.
Why he's one of the greats.
And then yeah, Tim Blake Nelson is amazing. He does his Tim Blake Nelson shtick really, and he fits perfectly. And then Sigourney Weaver is great. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all so good. And I do love it's so funny, when you just go along for the rides in some of these movies, because it's just like, how is this camp like allowed? It's insane.
It's like it's very insane. Yeah.
It's insane.
There,
And until
there's
like
no
until
way.
yeah, and until Stanley is gonna be like free to go and his like attorney shows up, no one's ever even been out to check the camp. Like
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. They
when
seem
they
to be
bring the
just like
which
they got like a little bit of a budget and they're just operating, and that's what they do. You dig holes.
when she comes back with the Texas Ranger and they're like, we're gonna have to go over this place with a fine tooth comb. And it's like, you didn't do that before? Like it's like, has nobody been out here? This is insane.
Dude, that's why it's a neo western though, dude. Like think
Oh,
about how bleak things are out
yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's really part of the revisionist format. It's so
You steal
contemporary.
one pair of shoes and you're at like a Carl Panzram esque work camp, like like digging holes. It is. It really is a neo-Western movie, dude. It's like a prison movie too,
It,
which is
it-
so weird to
it's
think about.
so funny. And this also, we already, we brought up the parallels to Kangaroo Jack. I love when we can talk about recurring thematic elements that you see in scripts show up again. And we've got the Eight Crazy Nights bit here where the judge is given Stanley the choice between going to this camp or going to prison.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like this poor kid has never done anything wrong. He stole a pair of shoes, apparently, like quote unquote stole a pair of shoes, and the judge is like, "I won't even blink. I'll send you to jail right now."
18 months in the state pen, baby. You want it, you got it. But
Yeah.
also like the evidence for like it is so circumstantial and everything. Like there's no way like he couldn't have like beat those charges.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's pretty damning that he like gets caught with the shoes. You know what I mean? Like no matter what you say at that point, you still sound guilty. You know?
Yeah. It's so funny though. I love movies like that though, where it's like it doesn't matter. You're gonna roll with it, and we're going. He's going to camp. All right, we're going to camp. You're like, all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
let's
it's
go to
just it's a great
camp.
trope because it's like you have questions about why he would ever be here. Well, it's either that or jail. It's like, all right, I guess I get it. He wants to go to the camp. Okay,
It's either dig holes or go to prison.
yeah.
Just so it's so funny. And this movie does a great thing. You mentioned it a little bit before. For me, the whole time watching this movie, I just want the version like I want a different movie in companion to this that's all in the past. Like that whole thing about this woman like getting a love and then this dude out of jealousy gets that guy killed and then she becomes a bandit and just starts murdering people in the old west. I was
Yeah,
like, I want to watch that movie right now. Like
it
please
was
give me
pretty
that
awesome.
movie
Yeah.
now.
But dude, that's I think what I loved most about it is that they were like, "No, you don't actually want to watch this movie. We're just going to give you the highlights and we're going to skip to all the really juicy bits." And then that's going to that's going to bleed into what was going on with everything else. It's so perfectly done, man.
No, it is great. And it gives you just enough where like you're begging for more and that they're dangling that carrot, but they're not giving you the carrot. You're just getting enough to wet your whistle.
Yeah,
It's
and
yeah,
they're really letting you figure out a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's a long time into the movie before they never even really explicitly say it. That like it's like her grandfather used to own the lake. Or I guess they say that he used to own it, but like that becomes more and more meaningful as you get through the flashbacks. And then eventually you realize why they're digging the holes and that it's like the part of the curse that's been on her family, which is like a big central thing of this movie is curses.
yeah, his curses and how they affect everyone around for like generations and the ways in which you could overcome them or succumb to the dangers of them. And you see that in Sigourney Weaver, where it's if Shia and Zero can't find this way to break that curse, like that's their future is being Sigourney Weaver, like blinded by this rage that her, great grandfather brought on them, where she's created a camp where she takes children delinquents and has them out in the sun all day digging holes. Like you're demented.
No, because it makes sense, dude.
You're
Because she
so
wants that
far
gold.
gone.
She thinks it belongs to her, you know? Like,
No, I know. And
it's,
in her eyes, it totally makes sense. But it's like that's their future. Like you'll be so far gone. You're doing shit like that and thinking it's okay.
yeah.
It's great.
But
It's
no,
very good.
I love that Shia LaBeouf's like beats the curses by just being like kind of a stand-up dude and like teaching that kid how to read and being a good friend and
Yeah.
like
The power of positivity. Just being a good old fashioned boy.
yeah. And
I'll teach you to read. Zero can't read.
yeah, him like Nelson crushes it in this movie.
Yeah, all the
And
like
does a
pseudo
great
mumbo
job, by the
jumbo.
way, of making me want him to get hit in the head with a shovel. You know?
Yeah, because he's so just fucking mean. Like, and he just undercurrents it with like mumbo jumbo like psychology talk to try and make it seem like he's smarter than he is.
Yeah, no, I mean his character is great because in the beginning he seems kind of like sympathetic to the kids and like feels like a good person, and then as the movie goes on, you can kind of tell he's actually just a piece of shit, you know?
Uh, then by the end, you find out like he's not even like a real doctor, and you're like, this son
Right,
of a
yeah, he's just some hang around. God knows how he got hired, you know?
bitch. just a piece of shit that couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. And I love this. I think this is a great movie. I mentioned it earlier with the book, how the book was a good bridge to seeing bigger and more thematic books. The movie is kind of in the same sense as a great bridge for, I feel like, kids who are just getting to that age where they're ready to start tackling more heavier thematic themes. Because this movie is like, while being a surface level fun, adventure film for kids, has a lot of like really rich thematic elements. Like, I completely forgot that the whole flashback is dealing with an interracial couple like in the early 1800s and all that stuff go. I was like, "Oh my God, like I totally forgot about all this. Like this is insane. This was in
Yeah.
a kids book? Like, my God."
Great that guy, by the way. That's Gus from Psych.
Yeah, from Sire. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I know when I saw him pop up, I was like, that guy looks familiar. But yeah, that
Um,
whole portion in the back is I was like, had completely forgotten about that. And I was like, dude, this movie is much heavier than I remember it being. Like, this is
yeah, and it's
great.
it's such a good origin story for why that lady becomes a villain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's so great. Like it's so cool. And how she's got the whole like kissing angle is really like well thought out and well planned out.
And that is a
And then
great
yeah, I
angle.
mean like
Kissing Kate Barlow.
I wouldn't underestimate the prison parts of this movie either. It's really like there's like large swaths of this where it feels like Shawshank Redemption but for kids. You know what I mean? Like that's and I'm so sold on all of that stuff, dude. Like I'm so bought in.
I know it is very much reminiscent of those, and I do see a lot of elements in that. It's just a very well done kids movie, and it's a kids movie, and it does what I think a large majority of these kind of kids movies could do. Because obviously you have the ones that are really for young kids that it's like you're not gonna really throw in these like thematic elements to it. But I like these kids movies that give you just enough that it could make you sit back and think about certain things, and it's not just like, hey, here's just a bunch of like colorful images to keep you entertained for 90 minutes. Like, there's a purpose to there's morals to learn from this is a good bridge movie that's going to prepare you to watch bigger and more thematically rich movies.
Yeah, it's a legitimate drama, is like the way I would put it. It's like a
Yeah,
legitimate drama movie. So yeah, it's the fact that it's geared toward kids. I get what you're saying. It's like a good stepping stone into like more adult drama.
it's like a good movie. Like, this is a movie I would like give my nephews to watch, like when they're like reaching that age where they're like, I don't want to watch Despicable Me anymore. Like, what do we got? And I'll be like, you know what you're ready for? You're ready for Holes.
Yeah.
And throw
Is
that
there
bad
anything
boy
you
at them.
didn't like about this?
I think the biggest thing, I think, and again, nitpicks, but I could have used a bit more. While they do have a lot of that prison element, outside of Stanley and Zero, the rest of the kids are so absolutely surface level and just there. I feel like, especially for how they like make a big deal out of it, especially at the end, like the kids are all around with him, and two, I think I would have liked a little bit more of him building more relationship with the rest of the kids as well as Zero. But it's a nitpick at best because that's
Yeah.
just gonna add fluff to the runtime.
That's it. I think it works better that way because by the second half of the movie, I don't really care about any of the other kids, and I'm not supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I think it kind of works perfectly just to be like a setting for Stanley and to get through some of those Shawshank for Kids scenes. And then like when you really break away and you get into like the meat and potatoes and like the real nitty gritty, it's like everybody else is kind of faded to the background and it's just Stanley and Zero. So I think it works perfectly.
It's fair. But yeah, that was the biggest one for me that I felt. What about you?
I thought the music was a little like ham-fisted at some points.
Uh,
Like,
yeah, especially when they go to those flashback scenes, that like rousing music that they keep trying to do is so silly. Every
see,
time
I thought it
what's
was
his name is like, I can fix that.
yeah, I thought it was more like the when they were doing the digging, like just randomly at Camp Green, like they'd like break into like this 2000s like pop country song, and I was like, "What is this, dude? It's so dated."
Yeah,
But
definitely
other
some
than
random
that's like
choices.
my biggest pet peeve was that.
It's fair. But yeah, I know. I think for the most part, this was just a fun, enjoyable movie that helps bridge the gap for kids looking to seek more, adult movies compared to their kids movies. So I think it hits the nail on the head with what it's trying to achieve.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and that's about all I got to say on that.
All right, so we can move on then.
Yeah, I'm ready to see who you're going to tackle up for us in the deep dive, and also the plethora of awards that this movie is going to rack up.
So as always, we start with the awards that you just mentioned.
Oh, here we go, baby.
Holes is gonna win 3 and be nominated for 9.
Ooh. Oh man. All right. Best picture at the Academy Awards. That's a lock.
Yeah, only 6 of those are Oscars, so we'll keep um, no, so maybe the most recognizable names of awards here, the
Mm.
Critics' Choice Awards question mark.
Oh yeah, that's a
It was
reputable award ceremony.
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Live Action Family Film in
Okay.
the
All right. That makes sense.
2004 Critics' Choice Awards.
What
I'm
else
just
was
gonna get
nominated?
what it eventually lost to here. It eventually lost to Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, which I think is a pretty good choice by the
Yeah, you
critics.
goddamn right. Disney losing to Disney. I think they'll take that win.
2003 nominee for Best Casting for a Feature Film at the Casting Society of America, USA.
Sounds like a thing, yeah.
Just to be clear which America they were talking about. It's America, USA.
I'm glad they
We
cleared
got
that
our
up.
we got our first win here. It's
Here
the
we go.
2004 winner of Best Family Film at the Las Vegas Film Critics Society Awards.
That sounds like a thing.
Yeah, right. Sure, if you say so. Let's see. I just want to see if there was any notables that it beat out here.
Yeah. What were the other nominees?
What award did I say it won again?
The Las Vegas Film Society League of Las
Oh,
Vegas
I see.
people.
They just announced winners, so it just won Best Family Film. It doesn't say what it was up
Oh,
against.
so they don't give it nominees. They're just like, who do we give it to this year? Wow, Las Vegas. Wow.
Yeah.
They're like the odds-on
And then
favorite.
this
Holes.
is an awards thing we've talked about a lot. We're gonna go. Actually, let's do its 2 wins first.
Okay.
So we talked about it that it won for Best Family Film. And then these are the other 2 wins for the California On Location Awards.
Like, what?
It won. It
These are
was the
the best films that were
2003.
on set in California.
Yeah, 2003 winner for Location Professional of the Year in Features, Mark Bennett Johnson. Mark Benton Johnson,
Dude, he was
sorry.
so professional in locking down that set.
Yeah, he shared the award with SWAT, which I believe is the Colin Farrell movie where he's like a member of
Yep.
LA SWAT.
Colin Farrell, Samuel L. Jackson. There's a movie. All right, yeah,
And
that's a
then
deserved win right there.
it was the 2002 winner for the Production Company of the Year for Features.
How many years was this movie winning awards for? What is happening?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess it
I
depends.
guess
It's the
2002
California
was when it
On
was.
Location Award, so does it depend on what year you filmed it in?
I guess, yeah, I don't know. They're like, and in
It just says
2002, Holes wins an award, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Don't worry, it's a
it's
movie that's coming out next
it's
year."
coming. You guys have heard about it.
Yeah. I
The
guess you guys
so
aren't ready for that, but your kids are gonna dig it.
it's weird. It doesn't say who the production company is that won. It just says Holes was the winner, which doesn't seem like how I would announce that. But all right, and then I want to get to the last awards thing we'll cover here. This is an awards ceremony we've gone to a couple of times.
Near and dear to
The
our
Young
hearts.
Artist Awards.
Oh, okay.
Shia
Gaya's
LaBeouf
getting some love, right? Yeah.
nominated for Best Performance in a Feature Film for Leading Young Actor. He eventually loses out to Jeremy Sumpter for Peter Pan.
Dude, fuck off.
And then,
Who else is
yeah,
not? Wait, who else is nominated in that?
Frankie Muniz for Agent Cody Banks.
Dude, this is an all-star
This
cast
is
right
maybe
here.
my runaway winner here. Haley Joel Osment for Secondhand Lions. I think that this is like a slam dunk for Osmond from Secondhand Lions. I
What?
don't see how he doesn't win this award. Did you never
Amazing.
see that movie?
No, I've seen that movie.
That
Very
movie's
much,
amazing.
very much seen that movie. Dude, and they gave it to fucking Peter Pan.
Yeah, the guy from Peter Pan. And then I don't know, I've never seen the movie Arizona Summer or Good Boy
Yeah,
as the
never heard
other
of those.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, what the fuck were they thinking?
Uh, and then there's gonna be two people from Holes nominated for supporting young actor.
Okay. Zero.
Yeah, Thomas gets nominated for Zero, and then you're never gonna guess the other one, like never in a million years. So I'll just tell
The,
you.
the other young, is it Armpit?
Nope. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, just don't even try. You're never gonna guess it. Noah Poltiek gets nominated for playing Twitch, the kid who gets like
Oh
shit
my, the
outside the
kid who
camp.
to it. Oh my God.
The car thief.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so funny. Does that kid have one scene?
Yeah, maybe two. Like
Yeah.
there's the one when he's at the lunchroom, and then
Yeah.
like I
And
think
then when
he
they
helps
steal the
family
car.
steal the truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he gets nominated though, dude. He does not. Neither of them win. They both lose
Ooh.
to Scott Terra from Dickie Roberts' former child star. Which some of these award ceremonies are like amazing, dude. Like,
Yeah,
when
this
would
is
you
like
ever
the
think that
funniest
these
thing
movies
ever.
would be up against each other?
Dude, how do I get tickets to one of these? They still do the
Yeah,
Young Choice Awards.
I don't know. Maybe.
Need to be there for the
And
next one.
that's really the highlights from the awards here. I'm a little surprised that it wasn't nominated for any Teen Choice Awards. It feels like that would be like a slam dunk.
Yeah, that would have been like
Oh, I
easy.
also missed one MTV Movie Award.
Yeah, how could you
Shia
miss the MTV
LaBeouf
Movie
was
Award?
nominated in 2004. Yeah, that's my bad, dude. Hold on. Um, the MTV Movie Award for Best Breakthrough Performance.
Yeah, there we go. Who was he up against? Did he win?
Hold on. No, he did not win. He was nominated Best Breakthrough Male Performance, right? Uh, there's some real heavy hitters in here. He went up against Omarion from You Got Served.
Oh boy.
Ludacris from Too Fast, Too Furious. Real
Yeah,
hip
let's
hop and
go.
R&B heavy category
Buddha.
here. uh, 28 Days Later, Cillian Murphy.
Well, one of these people is not like the other.
Yes. One of these people is like one of the best dramatic actors in the world. The other ones are Ludacris and Omarion. And then the eventual winner, Sean Ashmore for X2 X-Men United.
Like, come on.
Is that Iceman?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I mean, Iceman is pretty good in X2, dude. He kind of makes that whole movie work. But I
So
guess we'll
funny.
talk about it in
In
like next
X2.
week's episode.
Do you think Cillian Murphy lies awake at night thinking about losing this award back in the day?
No, I don't think it ever crosses his mind, if I'm being totally honest.
Imagine when he was accepting the award for Best Actor for Oppenheimer. He's like, I want to thank the MTV Movie Awards for overlooking me back then. You gave me the
Yeah.
drive to be the best of all time.
It's like his Michael Jordan Hall of Fame speech. He's like, and I took that
And I took
personally.
that personally. He's like, suck it, Sean Ashmore.
Yeah. They didn't have Sean Ashmore to be an Oppenheimer. um,
That's amazing.
and that's it for the awards. I don't know. Do we do Shia LaBeouf? I haven't even decided yet.
I mean, there will be many more opportunities for Shia LaBeouf
That's
if you choose
fair.
to not go with him. Although most everyone you could go with in this, there's probably more opportunities for them, right? Like John Voight, we've got other movies in the tank, Sigourney Weaver, Tim Blake Nelson.
Do we have a lot of other movies in the tank for John Voight?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm now questioning it. I know he's in the first Transformers, but then so is Shia LaBeouf. So now you're
Oh,
circling
yeah,
back
that's
around.
right. Shia LaBeouf's in that too. Okay.
Maybe John Voight.
I'm looking at John Voight right now. I think this is where we're gonna end up.
I'm ready for it. Go into the Voidster. He probably does have
Dude,
less.
how did
less-
I not know? No, how did I forget what movie we're gonna do John Voight for? This is too easy, man. I can't believe I missed this.
What? Or
2004's National Treasure.
oh yeah, dude. Wow, I can't wait till we get to that. We'll
Let's do
probably
like
do.
early John Voight. Let's do like because he's got like a gazillion credits. We can
So
do
all right, so
early.
go through John Voight up until Holmes.
He does a bunch of TV to start out, like in the '60s. It looks like there's like a couple of good like westerns in here, like for TV, like one episode things he did. Um, he's on an episode. He's on an episode of Gunsmoke. It looks like he does
Nice,
like a 3 episode stretch on Gunsmoke.
dude. Gunsmoke is so good.
And then this is like his first. He's got one other movie credit here, Hour of the Gun in 1967.
Never even heard of that.
Plays Curly Bill Brocious.
That sounds like a movie. Oh, it's a Western film depicting Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday during their 1881 battles against Ike Clayton. Like, how many of these movies did they make?
In the 60s, I would bet a lot of them.
They have remade the gunfight at the OK Corral like every 10 years. Like, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
1969, he's he plays NFL and MLB announcer Joe Buck in Midnight Cowboy.
Nice. I see what you did there.
I've never seen Midnight Cowboy. It sounds like I should have seen it though.
It's a really good movie. It's between it's John Voight and Dustin Hoffman. And they're like two hustlers like trying to make it in New York City. And John Voight's like a prostitute and Dustin Hoffman's like a con man. It's you've probably seen the
Yeah,
clip where they're crossing the street and like the cab cuts them off and like Dustin Hoffman's like, "Hey, I'm walking here."
yeah. It's coming back to me now.
Yeah, yeah, it's that movie.
Uh,
Really good
19,
movie.
1970. He's in another adaptation, Catch 22.
Ooh, good movie. I had to watch that in history class.
And then this is the first really big movie here that I can see. 1972, he plays Ed in Deliverance.
Ooh, there's a movie that really shook me to
Yeah.
my core when I saw it
Do
for the
you take
first time.
Deliverance or do you take Holes?
God, that's so many parallels to each other.
talk
Uh,
about talk about the very end of that bridge you were talking about.
yeah, right. I would take Deliverance. That movie is a roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take Deliverance too. I'm going through. I feel like I don't know enough about the movies I'm looking at right now. I feel like I have not seen a lot of these, but I'm putting it as homework right now to go through the 1970s of John Voight and watch as many of these movies as I can.
Rack up the John Voight movies.
Have you ever heard of the All American Boy?
Wow, never heard of it.
Conrack?
What? Conrack?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's probably great. It's got a 7.3 on IMDb.
Interesting.
1974, The Odessa File sounds amazing.
Yeah. So, all right. So that one's about a reporter's investigation of a neo-Nazi political industrial network in post-World War II Germany. Like that's gotta hit, right? Like that's gotta be great.
It's got to be awesome. Yeah, there's no way it's
Dude,
not. Like a
music,
1970s like political
yeah,
thriller.
dude, music by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Like, let's go.
Yeah. So I think what I'm learning right now is I need to do my homework on John Voight.
Watch
Early John
more.
Voight. I need to go
Yeah,
back and watch some of
watch
these.
some early. Yeah, the only 70s movie from John Voight, besides Deliverance that I've seen is Coming Home,
Yeah,
and
I've never seen
that's
that either.
that's the one he won the Academy Award for Best Actor for that movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good
Um,
movie.
1985. Do you know what Runaway Train is?
No, but it sounds great.
Yeah, it's 1985 John Voight. It's gotta be great, dude. I gotta watch it. The first real thing that I recognize here, Like big,
Oh,
big, big
hold on,
movie.
Judge. I got to stop you for 1 second here because the plot line for Runaway Train is about as amazing as you would imagine.
Okay.
So, two escaped convicts and a female assistant locomotive driver who are stuck on a runaway train as it barrels through snowy, desolate Alaska. Like, let's go.
Oh my god.
Like, that's got to be great, right? Like, there's no way that's terrible.
Yeah, because like you got to play the game of like
And,
maybe the convicts can help me stop the train? Question
yeah,
mark. I don't know. Like we're all
and
in this together, kind of a thing.
and here we go. Screenwriter Graham Yost was such a fan of this movie that it inspired him to write a very successful 90s movie called Speed.
Yeah, believe it. Okay, yeah. So yeah, must watch Runaway Train, 1985. John Voight. We got to do our Voight homework, dude. That's where we're at. Because the
I got to watch
first
a lot
movie
more of
that
these.
jumps out at me that I know I've seen and love is until '95 with Heat.
Well, yeah, and that's an absolute classic.
Yeah. Okay, so listen to this run right here. John Voight, 1995, he's in Heat. 1996, he plays Jim Phelps in the original Mission Impossible movie.
Now, let's go, baby.
1997, he's got two
Big
credits. I
wins.
don't know if I've
Big
seen this
wins.
movie, Rosewood.
No, I've never heard of that movie.
I've never heard of that, but let's say the other all-time 1997 here, Anaconda.
Yep, that's right, baby.
John Voight is in the fucking pocket in the mid 90s, man.
Not
He's
only
sitting
that,
in there and he's just bombing hits.
he plays probably one of the most unhinged characters in Anaconda, also.
Anaconda, I'll give like what accent is he doing in Anaconda? I know that everybody always talks about this, but it really is
Hell
so
yeah.
incredible.
Just the way he just stares at Jennifer Lopez throughout this entire movie. Like, the dude is out of his mind in this movie.
Yeah. And then okay, I'm gonna give you another run here. I want to
Okay,
see what you think of this run.
okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I mean, he's already on a banger right here. Every year from 95 onward right now, he's putting out hits.
What's it? Have you ever seen 1998 The General?
General. No, it does not ring a bell. It is an
Okay.
Irish crime film, though, with about Dublin crime boss Martin Cahill, who undertook several daring heists in the early 1980s.
Interesting. So I'm not
Ooh,
going to start with
playing
that.
playing Martin Cahill, Brendan Gleeson.
Okay.
Like that
That's
movie.
on the homework
Yep,
list. Yep.
that movie probably hits.
But we're going to start this run here then because this is where I know to start it. 1998, he plays Thomas Bryan Reynolds in Enemy of the State, which is like just an all-time classic.
That's a great movie right there.
I'm gonna skip this 1998 TV movie, Boys Will Be Boys. The next movie in the run, 1999, he plays Coach Kilmer in Varsity Blues,
Oh, dude.
which
Yeah.
is just incredible. And then let's top it off with 1999. He plays Noah in a TV miniseries called Noah's Ark.
Oh boy, Jim, how have we never watched that?
Yeah, like it is a must watch, dude.
John Voight playing Noah from Noah. Like, yeah, dude. All right. What we've learned is we have a lot of John Voight movies to watch going forward here now.
Yeah, and then before we move out of IMDb deep dive, I'm gonna give you one more run of movies that leads us to kind of like right up to when Holes comes out.
At the holes.
This is so incredible, dude.
If you have hits for 2001.
Okay, so this is a big stretch here. 2001, he comes out with three movies. Four movies, sorry, four movies.
Four
The whole
movies.
run is going to be in 2001.
Jeez.
2001, he plays President Roosevelt. That's Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yes, he does,
Pearl
baby.
Harbor.
Yes, he does.
He plays Lord Richard Croft in Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Oh boy. One for the people, one for him.
Incredible. He plays Larry Zoolander in Zoolander.
You've been down there one day. Try being down in the mines for 30 years.
Yeah, he's got a couple of TV movies here. Like another, he's got one TV movie and another miniseries. But then maybe the credit of all time. In 2001, he plays Howard Cosell in the movie Ali, which is like, I haven't seen Ali in a long time, but that's gotta be amazing. John Voight playing Howard Cosell.
Dude, like that run in the night, like you could argue like he got known in the 60s and 70s, but that man really hit his stride in the mid 90s to early 2000s.
Dude, he becomes like such a bankable fucking guy in this time frame. Like you can see it, dude. Like every movie we're bringing up is very memorable, you know, whether it's like for good or bad reasons. And
Yeah.
he's great in all of them, you know?
Whether the movie is actually good or just entertainingly bad, like he always brings the heat in it. Because it's like Anaconda. Yeah, not a really good movie, but you know what's great in it? John fucking Voight's great in it.
He carries it. Yeah, he makes it rewatchable.
He gets eaten by a snake, the snake spits him back out, and he winks before he dies. Like, right? That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. And so that's where we'll stop with him though, because he's got more going on, but he's he's such a like powerhouse in the early like mid 2000s. Like we got to just make that its own thing at one of those,
Just
because we're going to watch a lot of these.
power stride. And he is a man that is still working to this day. So just an absolute all-star, one of the greats, Mr. John Voight. And
Oh
with
yeah,
that,
he's got a credit in Megalopolis.
he was also just in 2024's August bomb, Reagan.
Oh.
And with that, we turn our attention to our star ratings.
I'm Roger Ebert. In a scene from the best film of the decade. This is a great film.
We know it was, Raj. We read your review.
Yeah, I'm with Ebert on this, dude. This movie is better than it has any right to be, and it really brings the heat at a lot of key points. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Ooh, Jimbo coming in hard. Nice, nice. I'm gonna go right below you. I do agree. This is a very entertaining and a very good movie. But when I put it up against like a lot of other movies in that 4 range, it doesn't quite hit at that 4 range for me. It feels like it's just below it, a very entertaining 3. So I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5 for my holes. And with your 4 and my 3, that's gonna give us a rounded out score of 7. And we're going to do some battles here right now, Jim. It's been a while since we've battled in the 7 range here. Do you take Holes or do you take Dr. Doolittle 2?
Oh man, that's really tough.
You also gave that was when the gloves came off and we had New Lease on Life, Jim, who also gave Dr. Doolittle 2 4 stars.
I know, and Doctor Dolittle too deserved every bit of those 4 stars. I stand by that. Um,
Big heater in round 1 right now.
I am gonna take Holes. That might be recency bias, but I'm gonna take Holes.
Ooh, I'm also going to take Holes. I'll give you that one there. So now, all right, the round 2 battle right here, Jim. Do you take Holes or do you take the 2001 classic Shrek?
I'm taking Holes.
Taking Holes? You're crazy. I'm taking Shrek.
Holes. I'm taking Holes.
I'm taking Shrek. So that's where our battle will
Just-
lie.
This is just pure feeling off of the times I rewatched them for this show. I enjoyed Holes more.
Enjoyed Holes more in this one.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it is a good movie, but not better than Shrek. So it'll sidle in right there with Shrek, in the number 19 spot. Which is
I think I've kind of gotten to the crux of the problem for why you're gonna take Shrek over Holes.
okay.
The mental stress just causes his brain too much of a challenge.
Man, you just had that one sitting in the pocket there, didn't you?
You're just overwhelmed, dude. It's too complicated.
It's
for
too
you.
much. It's too much for my feeble brain to get a beat on, and I just need to shut down, take a beat, maybe take a shovel to the face, and the answer might come to me. But
No,
for
that was my
now,
last Holes clip. I got them all in there.
oh, there you go. You found a way to subtly
Huh?
slide them. Pure gold right there. Yeah, so it's gonna sit in the 19th spot with Shrek now, ahead of Doctor Dolittle 2, and behind. I don't know if it would have crested over this other 7 here, Jim, which would have been Castaway.
Oh, definitely not. Castaway kicks the shit out of
Yeah.
Holes.
Castaway also with a Jim. I just want to remind you that you actually gave a higher score to Holes than you did to Castaway.
I know, because I made a very poor decision. That's what happened.
Gonna keep leveling that one at you. We won't take a guess for next week. We know what we're doing. We're diving back into the summer movie season of 2003, and we're kicking it off with X2, X-Men United. Finally diving into another sequel. We did X-Men way back in the day. You can go back and find that episode and watch. Right now, X-Men, the first X-Men sits in the number 28th position with a 5.5. So all eyes will be on X2 to see if it is going to do any better than that. Jim, do you have any recommendations for the people before we leave them tonight?
Yeah, I just watched this past weekend. I just rewatched Pretty Woman and like
Nice.
that movie rules so fucking hard. And like Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are both just like such quintessential movie stars. Like
Yeah,
it's like an all-time classic. If anybody out there hasn't seen Pretty Woman, you should go watch it.
if you haven't seen Pretty Woman, I don't. If you're out there and you're like, "What's Pretty Woman?" Like,
There's
just
people out there. I bet you
retire.
there's people who are like, "What's that movie on TikTok when Julia Roberts was younger?" Like, I've seen
Yeah,
like clips of
they
it.
just see the clip of him closing the diamond like case on her, and she does the like giggle. They're like, "What's that movie?" Ah, you kids these days. Get out there, watch her Pretty Woman. It's great. See Julia Roberts as a struggling prostitute. It's a it's a comedy.
Yeah, it is. It is a comedy.
So I've done my switch. I'm on TV right now, Jim. I don't have a movie for you. I'm watching some TV. And if we know anything about me is that when I finally do watch TV, I watch shows that came out 40 to 30 years ago. And right
Yeah.
now I am in the first season of ER.
Ooh, that's one I have to go back and watch. I was too young to appreciate ER when it was
Yeah.
first on TV.
ER skipped by me as a youngster. And I was tempted to watch it now because I've been on a George Clooney kick. I watched Ocean's 11 maybe like 6 times in 1 week. And I was like, I gotta watch some more George Clooney. And I realized I had never watched the thing that made him famous. So I was like, let me go back and watch some ER episodes. And I
You mean
started
it
at him about
wasn't
half.
that cameo that he had on Murder She Wrote that made him famous? I could have sworn that it was that episode of Murder She Wrote he was on.
I think that put him. I put his name out there, but ER is really where it cemented him on the map. And about halfway through the first season, and you talk in the same vein with Pretty Woman, how Julia Roberts and Richard Gere were movie stars. George Clooney was. You could tell right from the get go that guy was already above and beyond that show. Every other
Yeah,
person you
it's
see
like
on it is like just a bunch of nobodies, and then George Clooney just killing it.
yeah, it's like he's definitely one of those people where they just like absolutely like explode off of the screen. You know what I mean? Like they look so good on film.
He
Um,
he kills it.
like yeah, it's just yeah, he definitely fits that mold like that Julia Roberts and Richard Gere were hitting in Pretty Woman.
Right. And it's funny looking at him now because I feel like a George Clooney today never gets a chance to be George Clooney. Because so George Clooney gets huge on ER, and then his big movie debut is Batman and Robin. That happens today. They never let that dude make a movie ever again.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Batman and Robin is like an all-time disaster. It's like
Door bomb. And then I think he follows it up with like The Pacemaker, which is another movie that got like critically panned. Like today, like that George Clooney today never gets a chance to become George Clooney.
yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I like maybe not. You're because they make less movies. You're right. Like it's like harder to pitch that to people when he's got such a bad track record.
Right out the gate too. They'd probably be like, get back to TV, son. You're not ready.
Yeah, I mean, get back to TV,
Get
I
back to
suppose.
TV. Go on Chicago MD or
Go
so
do
whatever.
a Netflix zombie show.
Yeah, whatever.
It's like a gazillion of those.
Whatever the current day ER show is that's on right now. What are they like?
I don't know. Just like there's been so many
There's so
hospital
many of them.
dramas, like you can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah, you can't. Today's equivalent. Like you couldn't like even Grey's Anatomy is a dated run, and that one's still on TV somehow.
Yeah, I mean like Grey's Anatomy, House, but like those are like the memorable ones. There's also so many that are like on TV for like 2 years and are just awful. You know what I mean? Like network shows.
That's where they banish him today.
Yeah, like did you ever see that show Mercy? It was like an old network show where like the main character was like a nurse who like came back from Afghanistan to work at a hospital.
My God, dude, network TV, man, gotta
Or
love it.
like The Good Doctor or New
Yes,
Amsterdam.
I've
There's
heard
like
of the Good
such a
Doctor. The fucking Good Doctor. Yeah, they're a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. So it's the ER. What have you done, man? You were the reason all this happened.
Blame it on Clooney, dude.
Yeah, fucking Clooney. Can't believe
He
he
was so good in Batman and Robin. They've made like 20 Batman movies since then.
He was great in Batman and Robin. Don't let anyone ever tell you that Batman and Robin canceled Batman. They just realized they made something so good they couldn't top it that they had to wait until people forgot about it to do another
Yeah, they
one.
needed to wait till Christopher Nolan made The Dark Knight to top Batman and Robin.
There we go. That should keep the chuds talking for a week until our next episode. Make sure to join us back here next week when we dive into X2. Let us see you down below. Did you see Holes in theaters? What's your thoughts on that absolute family classic? And as always, until next time, we'll see you at the movies.